Remember, this entire manga and every manga on this channel is hand-drawn by myself, and now you too can learn exactly how to make your own viral Dragon Ball mangas at www.makemanga.com, where you can learn directly from me. My mangas have got me on TV, on newspapers, and even earned me over $60,000 a month on Patreon alone. And now, you can click the link in the description and pinned comment of this video and do it yourself. You only need to see the website to see just how many thousands of you are taking this opportunity right now. And don't forget also, the next video to this Ultra Vegito series has already been made and is live now on my Patreon right now for over 4,500 of you incredible fans to watch after this. Again, links are in the pinned comment and description. Enjoy.
Who the hell are you? So our story continues with a young Trunks standing overshadowed and in total fear as right in front of him, out of nowhere, the most unexpected of visitors would arrive. The right-hand man and royal demon god of Lucif, Dante, who looking down emotionless with his skeletal-like face would just whisper, "Quiet now. You wouldn't want to alert the others. A quick and silent death is the most peaceful, young boy. Do not fret. The God Killer will join you only moments later. I wish you everlasting peace in the afterlife." But stunned in place, just staring into the giant demon's arm, Trunks would begin thinking on his words, muttering, "You're going to kill me? And the God Killer? Do you mean my dad?" But suddenly raising his back, realizing what Dante was insinuating, Trunks would question, "Why? What did I do? What did Dad do?" But looking down mercilessly, Lucif's guard would just respond, "Naive child. It seems you have half a brain, much like your father. Yes, youngster, Prince Vegeta will die, but only after your corpse is shown to him. Be honored to be a part of Lord Lucif's grand show." Show? I'm not dying here, dude, and neither is my dad! As suddenly now losing his temper in the panic, the young Trunks would immediately coat himself in a blasting golden aura, turning Super Saiyan instantly before... "I've taken down bigger demons than you, Baldy! Take this!" In a final panel of the page, Trunks would rise up and rush straight at Dante. "Goten, you little bugger." But as this would be going on unbeknownst in the woods, outside, Bardock would still be smiling, addressing his grandson, saying, "You did that on purpose, didn't you? You hit that ball as hard as you could. Why? Don't lie to me now." "Well..." To which Goten, smiling away with his hand behind his head, would now seemingly be caught out and reply, "Kinda. I feel after what happened last time, nowadays Trunks kinda beats me at everything, and it feels good to win sometimes. Back at the tournament, we were more or less equal, but now he's blown past me. I gotta get something. So that's how it is. You're a typical Saiyan. You know that, kid? As Bardock, folding his arms, would just wisely respond, You do know, Goten, Trunks isn't that far ahead of you in reality. Back then, when he accessed that strange power, he was way above you. But that hasn't returned for a while. I can tell you now, you have just as much potential as him. Probably more. All you need is a good teacher. And if Kakarot isn't doing it, I won't mind doing his job for him. Huh? Really, Grandpa? That would be awesome! As erupting into excitement, the young Saiyan would jump and punch the air in elation. For a moment, all would be well, at least on this side of the battlefield. Suddenly, both Saiyans though would be on alert, as shooting right past them, in between, a small body would fly behind. What the hell was that? Leaving both perplexed, as whatever it was, it would crash hard and abruptly, ironically, onto a nearby giant tree's trunk. As soon enough, slumped unconscious and seriously hurt, a base Kid Trunks would be seen, still smoking from the damage that had just been inflicted on him. Trunks! And of course, his best friend Goten, on seeing this, would instantly yell in panic, seeing his most unexpected sight, a complete reverse of what happened last time the trio faced a powerful foe. Goten, get back! Go check on him. I'll deal with this. And springing to action, realizing this level of damage was far more than usual, Bardock would jump up and ready himself. He's coming! As immediately turning his head towards the woods, the Elder Saiyan would detect the demonic presence approaching. As staring forward, indeed, a dark silhouette would begin to appear out of the many branches and bushes. And standing tall with full confidence, Bardock would address the creature saying, Come on out, coward! A little faster, maybe. You must feel real good beating on a child, huh? You're even bigger than me. You should feel ashamed. Now, who would this be? His hair and age indicates he is Son Goku. But that cannot be. Son Goku is not on the menu just yet. And as Dante would finally appear with his grand stature, his face would appear confused with the sight in front. As looking down at Bardock, he would further inquire, Tell me, who are you? An imposter? Son Goku's power level would be far higher. Is that so? At least it seems you know of my son. Respect for his power is respect for my family name. So I'll take that as a compliment. Son! But now even more confused, Dante would stand questioning, Lord Lucif did not mention this. Could the Lordship not have known. Either way, your death will serve as a fine gift. My death? Yeah, right. You demons all talk the same, with nothing to back it up. I guess it's time I show you exactly where Kakarot got his power from.
As Bardock, now calmly playing with the back of his bandana, would duck his head down, before swiftly removing it and finally revealing...
Remember this face, demon. It'll be as close as you ever get to my son.
As now staring forward
With his yellow Ikari eyes beaming, the Saiyan from an alternate timeline where he mastered forms and techniques unlike any other would be ready to bear it all on the line.
But peering closer at Bardock on hearing his proclamation, Dante would just say,
Good. It was Lord Lucif's wish to kill him personally anyway.
As suddenly done with the conversation, Bardock would instinctively throw an energy beam on the mention of his son's impending death. But with the guard's insurmountable gap in ability, he would immediately just vanish. But as he would appear elsewhere, surprise would come over him again. As right there to meet him would be Bardock, who appears just where he would be, his fist clenched and locked in too. To ultimately still be caught perfectly in the tight grip of Dante's palm. But regardless, Bardock would just be smiling, his Saiyan nature coming through as he would compliment the guard saying,
Not bad. Not bad at all. Even the old king used to get caught out by that. Next time I see him, I'll be sure to rub it in that even a sorry creature like you knew how to counter it. And after a pushback into the distance from Dante, the Saiyan would go again, flying forward undeterred, his gleaming yellow eyes fixated on the demonic guard. But as he would swing his leg completely around with conviction, it would land on deaf ears once more, blocked simply by a casual raise of Dante's forearm. Causing Bardock to instantly maneuver quickly, jumping back and then shooting back forward. This time missing his straight punch as Dante would just move to the side. Nice move, but
leaving Bardock to power up in his spare hand a concentration of energy before...
Try this!
Unleashing from his left hand a powerful blast, not unlike the one he would have launched at Frieza in the original timeline, seemingly enveloping Dante's entire body. But unfortunately, just as it was against Frieza, it would be just as futile here, as appearing right behind him, the shadowy presence of the guard would emerge. But as the guard would punch down, surprisingly, he too would miss entirely. As now seen moving back, the completely untouched Bardock would move high up into the trees, placing a foot onto one of the trunks before using it to blast off with extra velocity, coming right down at an angle
towards the standing still guard. Enough of this! Time to show you the true difference in our power. But despite standing in more or less the same position, Dante would seemingly be ready to put in effort now. As ducking down, smashing his feet into the ground, the royal guard would get into a strange fighting stance. It's over! With his right fist now coated in electricity, Dante would cock his arm right back. Yes! Over for you, fool! As now reaching peak speed, so fast Bardock's entire body would blur. As his eyes would leave streaks of light, the two warriors would be ready to meet. What? But with insane precision movement, using the natural ultra instinct this version of Bardock possesses, the Saiyan would unbelievably dodge at the last second, leaving after images behind, but at the same time still continue his movement forward, as his fist would get closer and closer to Dante's face. Never underestimate a Saiyan! And with his teeth gritted, Bardock would put everything into finishing off the guard. But with a close-up of a now glowing-eyed Dante, things may perhaps not go as planned. As regardless, on collision, a massive explosion would unfold, shaking every tree of the forested planet for miles on end. And within the thick dark smoke, it would hardly be possible to even make out anything. That would be until the unnerving face of Dante would peer through with a smile. His fist just extended downwards, still standing, and for now, no sign of Bardock to be seen. But eventually all would be revealed, as laying motionless on the ground below Dante's fist in a crater of his own, the fallen Bardock would be seen, only able to gargle out a moan. Grandpa! Eliciting an instant emotional scream from Goten, as for the first time he would see his grandfather beaten. Goten! Relax. But interestingly, the young Trunks, now regaining his consciousness, still badly injured and with barely the strength to open even one eye, would have more faith, as he would just mumble, "He's not done yet. Trust me." And almost like he had heard Trunks and needed to perform, the fingers of Bardock would begin to move. And along with it, Bardock's ducked, shadowed head would rise, coming onto his hands and knees, as curiously, the royal guard would allow him, watching with his arms folded until letting out, pathetic. You would have thought one who claims to have fathered the God Killer, Son Goku, would live up more to his name. Seems he was a complete mutation from your bloodline after all. Maybe you're right. But as he would continue to rise, a noticeable laugh would come out from Bardock in response. And with a curious grin now visible, his final words would be, "But watch this, and tell me if you still think that As suddenly jumping up and powering up intensely, his entire body would begin bulking. Veins all over, as he would now spike up his hair in black. And with this iconic side view on show, the similarities with our hero Goku would become undeniable. Just you wait and see, demon! And as the transformation would continue, Bardock's body would only continue to bulk up and vascularize, his pupils now disappearing as his teeth would grit, and all around him, the rocks and surface of the ground itself would rise up into the sky. Until with one final Uzaru-like yell, with a face that perfectly mimics Goku's own when he transformed on Namek, Bardock's entire body would become surrounded in a green and yellow raging aura, all still smack bang in front of Dante, who remained standing still. What is going on here? What is this power? But it would only be when we would peer closer at the Royal Guard's now animated face that his reaction would be clear, and it would no longer be one of pure comfort like previously. Tell me what you think now. As finally emerging with his hair spiked up and golden with a hint of green, his eyes still maintaining the Ikari yellow, along with bright lightning of the same color, as well as a faint glow of an MUI aura. In this form, only ever seen once before in the Dragon Ball Super VE series, Supreme Instinct Bardock would be born. But as Dante would continue to watch on, with his arms folded, not a word would be heard coming from him. His eyes still staring, trying to gauge the new powerhouse stood before him. Whoa! Grandpa! Is that really you? He looks awesome! But Goten, meanwhile, would have a completely different response. Fully verbalized, as in shock and awe, he'd be left open-mouthed. As meanwhile, Trunks, somehow smiling away, would just mutter, "I told you so." The old man was always hiding what he could really do. So, these creatures can hide their strength at will. I wonder if there is any more he has to show. Wait, he's approaching. But as Dante would be deep in thought, everything would be interrupted as the slow steps of Bardock would be heard coming forward. What? Where is he going? But only for the Saiyan to anticlimactically vanish, almost as if the transformation was just for show, as he would find a way to escape. But of course, that would never have been the case for a true Saiyan like Bardock, as in a true nanosecond, in a flash, Bardock would appear with uncontrollable momentum, slamming an elbow right into the demon's temple, disorientating him instantly. He struck me! And the attack would be so impactful, it would actually send Dante not only flying backwards, but spinning rapidly at the same time. all while the powerfully built Supreme Instinct Warrior would land immediately on the ground with a crash, all without a word before... What now? As still moving fast backwards, Dante would notice something strange from afar. As now, with a full view, Bardock within both hands, with his arms spread wide apart, would begin generating masses of energy. Smoke bellowing everywhere as the Royal Guard would appear as an ant far flying into the sky. With a barrage of quick hand movements, Bardock would unleash his energy, launching an unending army of beams, with his hands almost appearing to have doubled in number from just how fast he would be moving. And Dante, instantly now being caught up in the countless beams, would have time to react just once before, in a giant explosion, the royal right-hand man of Lucifer would be completely hit, eviscerated in a pulsating explosion that brightens up the entire skyline. Ridiculous! But almost immediately as expected, Dante would emerge again from the huge smoke cloud that would be left in the aftermath, visibly angered and annoyed in being caught off guard. Again! His speed! And it wouldn't be long before he would be caught out again, as he would emerge at a random angle, Bardock would instantly be there to meet him. And instantly, reacting in time this time, Dante's hands would meet with Bardock's as they would clench together, pushing and pulling against one another. Damn it! But like a ferocious pit bull, Bardock would not stop his attack from continuing for even a second, immediately attempting to swipe a kick straight at Dante's chin. But with his demonic reflexes, even at that range, the Royal Guard could simply just pull back to make the Saiyan miss. Don't even try it! But as his head would be back, still looking at Bardock, he would notice the warrior taking a strange position. Sorry, but you don't tell me what to do! As surprisingly pulling his own head back, but not trying to escape, Bardock would crunch his teeth tight and... come down like hell's fury to slam ferociously on Dante's forehead, having no fear for his own strength, resulting in a seismic collision that is actually visible, coating the two in a ball of yellow, unstable energy blowing down all over the planet. This attack would seemingly prove useful at first, as someone would be seen falling down to the ground lifeless. But as we would peek at the body, it would unfortunately be Bardock's, crashing through multiple branches on the way down before a sudden crash landing on the ground. But all would not be lost, as once Bardock would be seen still transformed, he would also be getting up slowly. Now, I know that had to hurt! As raising his head with a giant smile, despite blood leaking from his own forehead, the Saiyan would be confident he got the better of the exchange somehow. A strange thought, when up in the sky, we would still see the looming presence of Dante's dark silhouette, remaining tall without movement. As we would briefly get closer though, His groans would hint he was far from happy. You will rue this day. As zoomed in, Bardock's damage would finally be seen, causing a hairline crack of the once thought indestructible mask of the guard. His eyes glowing with rage, looking colder than ever, as he would let out, "Congratulations on being the first to crumble the royal armor of Lucifer. Not a feat seen since millennia ago. Perhaps you may be beyond Son Goku after all." But Bardock, meanwhile, would just look into his hand, thinking to himself, "This guy, he's insane, but he's not immortal. I feel like I'm just scratching his true power, but I've proven at least I can hurt him." Before clenching it tightly and beginning, "With this fist, I will end this." As now sharply looking up with more conviction and belief than ever, Bardock would be ready. Instantaneously blasting up in a glorious golden spray of aura before... "Your weak point is clear! I'm taking that head off!" As unleashing an unbelievable scream of intensity, giving absolutely everything. With his fist pulled all the way back, Bardock would come with everything the Saiyan race could possibly give. "This is for my son!" As now behind him, the power and likeness of a legendary Uzaru, roaring behind, the power of the demons would come to face the true power of a full-blooded Saiyan. Coming in as a fast flash of light at Dante, who would just watch on initially. "So be it. I will show you your inferiority!" Cocking his own fist and coating it in a dynamic, demonic energy, the collision of a lifetime was about to take place. Now, for the first time letting out a yell himself, a dark, beastly apparition of his own would appear right behind in emulation of Bardock's Uzaru. And just like that, with a catastrophic crash, the two would finally meet, appearing from afar as just two contrasting light sources clashing together. Only in the thick of it would we then see how both punches were equal in strength, both landing perfectly on each other, one on Dante and one on Bardock. The impact this time creating an even bigger detonation that starts to remove and destroy all the surrounding area and forestry. Sending both of them backwards in separate directions, dragging by their hands and feet. Got you good. We really are completely equal after all. But it would be Bardock who would be first to break the silence, grinning in excitement at the thought he could possibly keep up and maybe win this. But with an annoyed tone, Dante would respond, "Equal? You have done well to come this far. I will admit that. But you have not even seen level 2. Level 2? So you do have a final second transformation? Of course you would.
Piquing Bardock's interest slightly, but not completely striking fear. That would be until Dante would elaborate.
Level 2 is not another form. Level 2, as in 2% of my power instead of 1. What? Don't even joke like that!
Finally now eliciting shock and awe, as Bardock simply cannot believe such a claim until...
This is reality!
In an instant, unreactably, Dante would already be right in front of Bardock, his arm out-clawed to the teeth, and a demon even scarier and more pronounced than ever before, bellowing behind him. And in one flash, Dante's arm would come down. No scream, no groans, no pain. It would seem almost as if Dante had missed. But when we would look back from Bardock's perspective, looking down at his feet, blood would be dripping down to the ground. Perhaps from an earlier injury, maybe. But in the royal guard's cold hand, a bloody piece of flesh would be seen, dripping down all over. And in one shocking appetizer of a sight, as he would open his palm, the scarred face of Son Goku's father, Bardock, would undeniably be seen, all leading to... the final horrific sight of Bardock standing motionless, dripping in crimson blood, as all that would once be seen on his smirking face would now be an exposed skeleton. And unfortunately for him, there would be no regeneration. This was the end of Goku's father. Grandpa! Leaving a traumatized Saiyan child to scream out, his face instantly cold and blue, unable to take in such brutal violence to his loved one. His body now trembling in place until... With a thunderous roar well beyond his years, everything would snap within Goten's conscience. The potential his grandfather had spoken of earlier, in a complete ironic twist, would come out in full force. His power exploding more than ever before. As his eyes would be lost, electricity would dance all over. And shooting into the sky, a column of pure, untapped energy would flow continuously. And his own young voice, dropping, would become more Uzaru-like. And most shocking of all, his eyes would gain the same yellow as his grandfather. Goten! And with a reverse of the tables, it would now be Trunks who is left covering himself from the unstoppable transformation of his young best friend. The question remains though, will any of this even make a difference? Find out on the next exciting episode of UV. But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag Goten in the comments down below and let me know just what kind of power Goten will possess now, and will it even be enough?
Or just find out what happens right now on my Patreon, where you can see the full next video, fully voice acted, soundtracked, and edited for you to enjoy with over 4,500 plus other fans, as well as getting access to 250 plus other fan mangas too. It's the deal of the century.